Welcome back to the Super Reality Fan Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Luke, JC, and Kassie. Guys, how you doing?
Fantastic.
I'll stop playing around with my background now, I promise.
Doing great.
Trying to overcome this grief for losing Kim Spradlin this week.
Seriously, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
It was definitely the saddest week for me.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, a crazy tribal leading to that. It's not what you want to see as a Kim fan, but it's what happened.
Yeah, coming into the season, I was definitely, my top three were Sandra, Parvati, and Kim. And, for some reason, losing Kim was even worse than losing Parvati and Sandra at the same time. I don't know how, but this is somehow, more devastating.
Well, because she made it further.
I feel like because we have...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, we also have more Sandra and Parvati content. Sandra and Parvati have both played multiple times. We've been waiting so many years for the Kim Spradlin comeback.
Yeah.
Or at least I have. I've been waiting for this for so long. And it was just a bummer to see her go out without getting tons of, she didn't get a huge edit or anything. And it was just generally very sad.
Yeah. And I feel like she was the last rootable member of the opposition. I like Michelle and Denise fine, but I feel like strategy wise, Kim was the person that was leading the resistance. So yeah, that was sad. But yeah, we started this episode getting to see some of the fallout from Tribal Council, which I thought was fun. We got to see some Ben and Jeremy tension, and then of course the Sarah and Tony fight. What do you guys think of that?
I've definitely said those words in an org or just to friends in general. If you ever do this, don't talk to me again. Which was
I thought you were going to say grimy ass.
Grimy ass.
This is a grimy ass move.
Not that I would. I've definitely also said those words, but I've definitely given ultimatums and been if you vote against me again, I'm just not talking to you ever again.
Yeah.
I feel like it adds an extra layer, not of duplicity, but just of iconic stature of when you're just we've talked so much about the outside game, just on this podcast, but in general, this season, for her to be Josh, don't even speak to me. That had me in tears. When I watched the preview, I watched it 4 or 5 times. It was so
yeah. Yeah, Trouble in Paradise.
What are your guys' general feelings about Ben?
Tony, what the...
About Ben?
Yeah, what are your feelings about Ben? Because I have strong feelings about Ben, and I'm curious. I feel like coming into this late, I don't know all of your thoughts and feelings about everybody.
I also have very strong feelings about Ben, so I feel like I shouldn't go first.
I don't have strong feelings about Ben. I know that he's getting so much hate and so much backlash, and this is the thing. We knew coming into the season that Ben was not a top tier winner by any means. He's very human and very flawed, and he could have gone home at final 7 in his season. Everyone's mad about him not talking to Jeremy and him being kind of childish and everything. I think it's just funny. I don't take it too seriously. My expectations for Ben were low, and he's meeting them. So
yeah.
True. It's a low bar for me. I feel like Ben coming into the season, I was not expecting a lot from him. And I feel like for me, he's been worse than expected. Just even watching him crumble in the first couple episodes with Boston Rob, where he just completely broke down and was everybody's this is who's saying your name. This is who's saying your name. And then in this episode where he's just acting like a child and not just shunning somebody. It reminds me of Dwight in The Office where he's shunned. Unshunned. Okay, I'll talk to you. Okay, now you're shunned again. And I just could not deal. It was very funny. It was very entertaining, but I also was God, I am not your fan.
It's really cemented my idea, and it's a very hot take. But I think he's one of the least deserving winners on this season, just because of production interference in the sense of creating a Final Four twist that none of them knew about. I didn't care about it until this season, and I was on the opposition side of it where I was oh, they always introduce twists that we don't know about. It wasn't until this season where I was damn, that's why they wanted him out. And I've listened to podcast after podcast of Chrissy being yeah, Ben just got so hangry and so cranky down the line, it was hard to talk to him. And now we're seeing that, and it's they're still not voting him out, and they honestly still can't because he has an idol. And it's also if he gets to the Final Four again, he's demonstrated that he can make fire, and he's also a Marine, so he's good at basically any challenge they throw his way. It's just
he's not though.
Well, not like Survivor challenge, but gritty mental fortitude. Yeah. And that's why I'm I don't think Ben can win this season. but it scares me because I'm like, I don't want him to have a final 3 seed. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, I will say low expectations, like strategy wise, he hasn't been that great. But like as a character, he's way exceeded my expectations. Like I think he has, obviously been irritating sometimes, but like his moments with Adam just cracks me up all season long. Like when they were back on like the Yara tribe and like Ben was like mimicking Adam, like meh, 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 and like all that kind of stuff. Like I was dying. And then obviously, I think it was the episode that Adam went home, when Ben confronted him. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ben's an easy.
Well, it's almost like Ben felt the need, like felt this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, all you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like Ben had this thing going with Adam, like this weird love-hate relationship. I don't even know if I would say love-hate. Like they just clearly did not get along very well. And I feel like the second Adam left, he's like transferred all of that into his relationship with Jeremy, where he like needed this new guy to just like take out all of his like hangry angst, And so I feel like that new person has been Jeremy, where he's just like after him for, I mean, it's understandable, but it's pretty funny to me, like just how crazy he's been with the Jeremy situation.
So I've got a new role for you in the Survivor hierarchy of strategy, and that is your fire shield. You take Ben with you. You take Ben with you, intending to put him against the person you want out at Final Four.
That's a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
You keep a third seeder in, not because they're going to be completely irrelevant. They're not the as intended Natalie White, but instead you're taking them in not only because they're not really going to win against you in the jury, but because they specifically you're going to have them take somebody out at fire.
That's like I think that is a good idea. However, if you're not the person that wins the immunity challenge, then if somebody puts Ben against you in fire, then you're screwed.
Yes.
It could be a double-edged sword. Yeah, I think it really depends who's with you in the end game. But I mean, Ben is definitely somebody you want to have on your side, like towards the end. Like he's a valuable ally. I think that he's willing to go to the end with anybody and just like see what happens.
Yeah. And that's like what we're trying to start to like figure out, because we're at the final 7 and like someone is going to come back. So I guess there's like 8 possible winners at this point, even though there's obviously like 19. Just because like the product of the edge. But it's very interesting for me to think about where these people as they currently are shake out in the game and why they would even be targeted in the first place. And Ben is one of those people for me, because I'm like, is he like a goat? Because he also is like a Marine with a family, and that's why they're afraid of Jeremy, because he's a firefighter with a family. And I guess Ben has like a worse face on right now, but it's like Denise in general, like I didn't find what she did to be offensive, but a lot of people on the jury were like, ooh, like that was feisty. But like at the same time, I'm like, where do all these people shake out? Like, where is the final 3 going? I feel like it's definitely, if Tony can continue to win immunities, he's obviously going to be there, which is insane to think about, because coming into this season, I was like, Tony has no shot. And I feel like he has a legitimate shot now, and it's crazy to like even fathom.
Yeah, for sure. Tony, and like this Sarah Tony confrontation cracked me up. I mean, he was just like so surprised at like how mad Sarah was. He's like, oh, usually people come back to camp and everyone that's fun, they're just like pat you on the back and like it's all respect. But like he was surprised. He said that this like vote caused really deep wounds, and that people were like actually way more pissed. What do you think like was the factor in this vote that made it like so much more personal than other votes?
Well, I think, you look at Tony's history. The first time when he played in Cagayan, he obviously won, but it was an all, like newbie season. Like nobody had prior relationships that played a role in these votes, and then you look at the second time, he obviously went out pretty quickly. And then this time is, the deepest he's gotten in the game since the very first time he played. And so I think part of it is like Sarah and Tony have like clearly this like pretty intimate, like real life relationship. And Tony just like went behind her back. So it's more of like, to me, it seems like it's way more than just like, oh, you like messed up my Survivor game. It's like you broke my trust in our like actual real life relationship, which I think goes deeper than if you're just like fucking random people over on Survivor when you play.
Exactly. I agree with that. And also like newbies tend to just be a little more like complacent of players. Like when you're playing with winners, like they are not going to just like let you get away with things like that. Like they're gonna call you on your shit. They're gonna tell you it was grimy. They're gonna like especially the people he's working with, and Ben and Sarah, like they are not calm people. Like they have tempers. They definitely like displayed that when they got back from tribal council.
It's just looking at this season too, where we're at now, and of course, like Kim got emotional earlier in the season. Sarah got emotional in a secret scene last week, which is completely valid because I feel like, first of all, your emotions are always valid, but in this season, it's just like insane because we're seeing some significant burnout. I feel like emotionally from these characters and emotionally from these people as players and people, and I feel like that's kind of like what we're seeing on social media too. Like Denise turned off her Twitter this week. Nick turned his Twitter off. Adam took a hiatus for a long time. I think there's other people who have done it here and there. And it's just insane to see that. It makes total sense, but like we're seeing why they're doing it because they knew when they were out there, it was probably, it's what their legacy is. And they know that if they're a one-time player that just won once and now they get voted out, that changes your legacy for better or worse. So it's just scary to see that the implications of like people being shitty on Twitter to them too, because like it matches what's going on in the game because people are like messing with their emotions and who the real friendships are too.
Yeah, I think in both cases, like the fact that this is the all-winner season, this is like the highest stakes season. It's for $2 million. It's the best players who've ever played the game. Like that's so much pressure.
Yeah.
To that point, though, I do feel like there's only one player whose legacy has been tarnished by this season. Maybe three if I'm stretching. And we're not done yet. So you don't know for sure.
True.
But
yeah, say names, JC.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. Natalie, her legacy has not been tarnished. Yes, she went from winning a season to being voted out first. But she's really gotten the airtime to show that she's working on the edge. She's putting in the effort. Getting voted out by 9 other winners doesn't immediately kill your legacy because, somebody has to go out first and you've all done the work before now. Then we get Amber, and Amber already had a very, what's the word? The fans are not on the same page with Amber's original win. Her original season, there's a pretty consistent fan reaction, but her original win, there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, it was all Rob," and there are other people who say, "No, she played a good game." And going in and being voted out first from her tribe, again, she's not doing things on edge like Natalie was, but she didn't kill her reputation, and she's also coming in after 15 years. Then we get to Danny. And
yeah, that's what I would say.
That's
the
one
for sure.
Oh man, I was never the biggest Danny fan to begin with.
Yeah.
I wasn't like against her, but like you don't see her game intentionally. She didn't want the cameras to see anything she was doing. So there was no like, yeah, I'm really rooting for this person. Here's what they didn't do anything. And then again, no screen time, isn't doing anything, and the commercials did not help.
Well, I mean, I think what really did it for me is just like the nature in which she went out, she was the only person I feel like of those early boots who like actively like tanked her game instead of just kind of like Amber and Natalie kind of like passively lost because it's the early game, whereas Danny like actively got herself voted out.
Yeah.
But
continuing down the list, Sandra, a lot of fans say she ruined her legacy by quitting. And I think I've said it on here before. I'll say it again. Leaving the Edge of Extinction is not a quit. Putting the pin in that now. Moving on to the rest of the analysis. But you keep going down these names. Tyson didn't really ruin his reputation either time he got voted out. Wendell might have damaged his reputation, but it wasn't him being voted out. It was the airing your laundry on national television that kind of might put a little damper on Wendell. He did not get a good edit either. And then Adam. I don't want to be mean, but yeah, he's getting this really, really whiny edit, and that could make his legacy go down quite a few stocks.
Yeah, I would say like in the superfan community, I think people still like Adam and don't think that he played a bad game. But I think probably just like the casual fans that already probably didn't like Adam very much continue to not like Adam very much. So
Yeah. Don't think he played a very bad game.
Yeah.
But the mistakes are obvious. You can definitely see them.
Yeah.
He did not play as well as his first time.
Agreed.
Oh
But
well.
most of these people,
Yeah. Actually, I wanna do a caveat of Rob also makes the list of people who might have made their legacy worse with this season.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think the combination of IOI and 40 really like does something there, especially because like he came back just to be like a mentor, but like wasn't playing how he did last time. Like he wasn't playing like how him and Russell were like the mentors of their tribe, but still playing. It was very much like just like you are this figurehead who is there, and then you come in the next season. Yeah, literally figurehead. This big ass wooden head, and then he comes in the next season and loses. And like even in this episode too, like we get EOE content from him that's just like, oh, I'm not quitting. It's like, dude, like honestly, like it's like if you're doing a club in school and then you don't go back to it the next year. You didn't quit, you just didn't go back to it. You know what I mean? Like just because you did track one year doesn't mean you have to do track the next year. This game ended, you already lost. You're not quitting. Like it makes no sense. So like stuff like that where I'm like, it just shows that he's old school, but old school in that purest sense doesn't necessarily work in an all winners advantage heavy season.
Right.
Yeah. So season pitch for you. Island of the Idols 2. Caveat is if you agree to be one of the idols, your career is done. You do not play after appearing. Like you're appearing as a mentor, you're appearing as a coach, it ends you're retired, you're coaching. Yeah. Instead of like Island of the Idols 1 where they're on a separate island, each of them is on one of these tribes at one of their camps, being there, helping them actually go through all of the survival stuff. And you pick characters who are definitely better at the survival aspect, and you're actually mentoring them through the game. I don't know how you limit the game.
This sounds like a bad excuse to bring Rupert back.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Like this feels
Rupert
like
Ozzy.
Yeah.
Hard no for me.
Oh my gosh.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think it's just like I'd just like to see newbies struggle. Like I want to see them struggle. Like I don't want to see them quote unquote have it easy. Not that being on an island starving is ever going to be easy, but they don't. Yeah. They're fine.
Well, I was building up to the Big Brother coaches twist where they had some previous players come back. It's not going to spoil anything. I'm being very careful with what I'm saying.
I don't want to know.
Not going to spoil anything. So the coaches, if somebody from their team wins the season, then they get a smaller prize, but they get a prize. So like if you're idol, if you win the season, your idol would get like $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
as an incentive for them to coach you through the game.
There's something there, like if there's like a season of people who like kind of like have their legacies tarnished, and they're like, okay, we're bringing back like a small amount of people, like 16, and if you get voted out now, you can never come back, or something. Like I feel like that was the energy Second Chance had, and they were playing as if they could never come back again, and that's why they played their hearts out, because they were like, it was people that like never thought they'd get the time of day again, like Terry Dietz, and like people from like old school, like Varner, and it's like all these people that you never thought you'd see again. And then they were playing, they're like, as if it was their last chance. And for some of them, it wasn't. They still came back. So I feel like there's something there that's like giving them that energy and that vibe. Whereas like this season, I feel like they're just playing to exhaustion. Like they literally are like exhausted playing their hearts out. But it's not because they're doing 6-hour challenges or like going for coconuts or doing XYZ. They're just like so emotionally and mentally drained. And I feel like that's maybe because like Tony's still there, Jeremy's still there. There's still a lot of threats there. And there's EOE, which has literally every single big threat of Survivor history besides Sandra sitting on that beach. So it's like they have to keep thinking 10 steps ahead, but can't even think one step ahead because they don't know what's going to happen. And it's going to be wild to see going into this 2-hour episode, like how many of these advantages get played, you know, who's coming back the following week. I have no idea where it's going to go, but I'm excited.
Yeah. It could go in like a new number of ways right now. I mean, literally anybody could win other than Sandra.
Yeah.
Do you think someone actually comes back this week? We've talked about this in the chat, but I definitely want to get it on the podcast, on the video for anybody who's been watching.
I personally think no, because the preview did not show them in a challenge, and they love to tease us. Like I don't remember how exactly it happened in Edge of Extinction 1. But I feel like they got some kind of note that like, oh, like the challenge is coming up before they actually went to the challenge. And so I'm like, maybe we're getting kind of like that teaser in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, I see it being like 2 eliminations, obviously, this week.
Yeah.
And then once it's down to 5 people, having that 6th person be somebody come back from the edge. So my guess is like first few minutes of the finale, we have the edge challenge and we have the last player. And then the rest of the finale is just focused on the game now that the edge is out of the picture. What I see.
And I was one of the ones that I think I was the only one that was like, oh, maybe it'll be this week. But it's also like, if you think of like in hindsight, thinking back to EOE, like one of my favorite episodes of Edge of Extinction was the finale because I was like, what the fuck is happening? And it was also like very staged up to be very like well edited. It was like a 2.5 hour Chris Underwood movie that like we watch, and that was like his only content of the season. And it became increasingly clear he was winning, you know?
Yeah, that was the best episode of the season in terms of like I was on an emotional roller coaster in the finale, whereas like a lot of the other episodes I was kind of like, I don't really care. But
literally,
like the finale, I was just like, what is happening? Is Chris Underwood about to win this? What the heck?
And then he does, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, you're like,
am
I rooting for Chris Underwood? He's been gone this entire game, but like somehow he's been playing the best. I don't know what's going on. Like an existential crisis.
Can't even.
So one hypothesis out there is that Tony comes back from the edge because the preview has a bunch of foreshadowing in it. Although the preview is normally very misleading. In this case, it's Jeremy saying it's Groundhog's Day. And then Tony said, oh man, what did Tony say?
I know what you're talking about.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any real backing behind it. And I can't remember what he said, but Tony says something that just very like pings, oh, he's out and back.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It makes sense, too, because he has been doing well in the challenges, and they've really been hyping that up, besides the obvious fact of him winning 3 in a row is like crazy. So maybe he's like the second person voted out this episode, and then comes right back like the next day.
So do you guys want to like break down the episode so we can talk a bit more about, like, I'm curious what some of your thoughts were going forward for like Tony's game and things like that. So do we want to just do like a quick overview of the episode and our thoughts, and then we can go to next week?
Yeah.
We got the much anticipated spy nest this week, which I feel like was kind of a letdown. Like I loved this that the scene before was, you know, Tony was talking to Ben and like told him about the idol, and then like a bat shits on him, and then like the next scene is like Tony like, inspired by the spy shack.
Yeah.
To go in the tree. I thought that was funny, but then it was kind of like we didn't get to see any payoff. We just got to see like Sarah was like helping him test it out. Like
I know.
Right. I would imagine. I hope it. Right. I hope like in the next week, maybe there's so much content coming up that they felt like they needed to plant the seed now, so that way in future weeks there's like not any surprise about like, oh, Tony's up in a tree. What's he doing there? Oh yeah, we've already seen that Sky Nest or what did he call it again? I keep wanting to say Sky Nest, but
Spy Nest, not a Sky Shack, which is what
Sky Shack is so good. But I think that's a good point, too, because I think they would really bury the lead if they were just, like, showing him in a tree, like, next week, and then we're just like, what the hell? Like, how'd he get up there? How are they letting it happen? Whereas now they're showing the setup of, like, Sarah and him have somehow mended fences within, like, 12 hours, and now she's, like, protecting him while he's going in the tree, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing that this scene showed was like maybe just more of like Tony and Sarah's relationship, and just kind of, I mean, Sarah's like kind of out of other options at this point, which was one of the reasons why Tony obviously like, wanted to get rid of Sophie.
For sure.
You know, so going forward, it's going to be interesting to see. I hope Spy Nest is used. Like, I really, really hope Spy Nest is used because it's really funny. I'm kind of bummed that Tony told someone about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as like Sarah was mad at Tony for the move to get out Sophie, like, did it work though? Like, is she closer to him than she was before? Like, it did work, whether she wants to be mad about it or not. So after that, we see kind of Kim starts gathering the votes for Tony, which I feel like we can come back to later because it's going to be like throughout the episode. And then we get the Edge of Extinction challenge. What did
Wait,
you guys
also, I just want to say one thing real quick before the Edge of Extinction challenge. When Kim was kind of rallying the troops, I rewatched this episode. That's the first time I've done this, but I was curious if it would like prepare me more. And Kim literally said, "I have to turn this game around or go out trying." That is like my heart.
And she also says, "Hell no, Jeremy is not going next." And then she votes for Jeremy in the end of the episode. So
totally.
Yeah, and she got buried all throughout this episode. Like even like the very first thing you see in the episode is like them coming back to camp, and like Kim like falls down trying to like put her torch against the tree, and it's just like, oh no! Once you see that, you know it's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
But on the Edge of Extinction, we basically just get like a repeat of like the log challenge. I'm like, why are we doing this again? What is the point?
Was anybody else shocked about Sophie's physicality there?
Yeah,
I had no idea Sophie was such a badass.
I was so hard.
Like she was hanging in there with Natalie Anderson, who's like very physically fit, and then she beat Tyson. Yeah, she beat Tyson. Like if I beat Tyson at anything, I'd be very proud of myself. I guess now Tyson's older, but still.
I heard that like Sophie was like a collegiate athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
But
yeah.
It was track.
It was field hockey.
Yeah. Field hockey?
I think it was field hockey.
That makes sense.
I could see her being a field hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey gal.
Especially like running with like coconuts. That's very conducive, I feel like, to the same thing.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. If you're trying to make your college field hockey team, go train by running with coconuts.
Exactly. That's the lesson.
Yay!
Totally.
Podcast title idea: Running with Coconuts.
Please help.
I related so much to Adam in the segment, talking about like I'm in last place. Like, what the hell am I doing?
But that's like what's the funny thing with the editors too, because they're juxtaposing Adam being like, why am I even trying with like this little energy I have, to Boston Rob like literally like hurting himself trying to finish a contest he already lost, like a challenge he had no business winning in the first place, because he's going against these people who just got out of the game and probably have been eating anyway. So it just that was weird.
I love that Adam like got dodo music too. Like they don't do the dodo music too much, especially with all winners. But like we got it like in this specific scene of like Adam like trying to do the challenge. I'm like, oh, poor guy. Yeah, I felt bad for him.
I also thought, going back to, it's interesting, sorry, I'm just glancing down at my notes. The other thing that I thought was interesting, how Nick had this confessional where he said, I have to think about who I want to sit at the end with, and then I have to think about how to get everybody else out. And I thought it was really interesting knowing that he eventually votes for Kim after he literally just said the three people that could for sure beat me. I mean, I think Kim could beat him too, but he listed Sarah, Tony, and Jeremy. As the three people that could beat him. And so I was thinking about it, I was like, what the heck? You literally just said this, and then now you like go back and vote Jeremy, or you end up voting for Kim rather than Jeremy, who's like one of your listed three people.
I was honestly offended that Kim was not on that list though. Like, are you kidding me? Can you beat Kim Spradlin at the end? Like, fuck no.
Nick doesn't beat anyone at the end.
Yeah.
Nick doesn't beat Michelle at the end. Nick doesn't beat Denise at the end. Not with the edit we're getting. I'm not saying anything against him as a person or a player, but like Nick doesn't beat anyone at the end. He's getting like the fire boot edit, or I think more than a third runner up edit.
I agree.
Yeah, I do think he's
playing.
Like
if he was going to be third runner up, we'd see more of him.
Yes,
I think I would say that he's playing a much better game than we're seeing. Like, I think that his shooting has been great. Like, I would say, in my opinion, based on what we've seen, he's playing better than Denise or Michelle or obviously Ben. But like, that's why I think he could be playing a good game right now, and we just wouldn't know, as long as his plan is to get to the end with those other three people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then the other thing that happened before we hopped to the challenge is the idol hunt, where Sarah was like, you know, Sophie went with an idol in her pocket. We need to go out and find this idol. And we had that really funny exchange with Ben and Tony when Ben tried to hide his idol, like in broad daylight in front of Tony.
Yes.
Which I just, going back to Ben, I'm like, of course, this is like something Ben would do. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he was doing good. Like, he was pretty sneaky. It was just like, if only Tony had like looked the other way, because it was just like, he only needed like 1 second to like stuff in his pocket, but
Right.
Yeah.
What would you guys have done in that situation if it was you that had stumbled across the idol? Like I was thinking about it, I'm like, should he have just left it there and like looped back around and grabbed it when he had the chance? That like risks other people getting it.
It's hard because like they're at final 8-7 now, so it's like really hard to be like. It's like kind of like you're gonna be seen as a threat no matter what if you're a threat anyway. So unless you're like Michelle, who openly finds an idol, and I think Michelle's a great girl and a seriously great player from what we're seeing, but it's just not really getting shown 100%. But she, like for example, if she finds an idol in front of like Tony might be like, oh fuck Michelle, she has an idol, we have to get rid of her. Whereas Ben is already a target for being known to being decent in challenges, like obviously hasn't won too many, but can still put his like full foot out there. And also he is known for Ben bomb. So it's like, he's going to pull something out eventually. And we're in the final 8-7 now. But personally, I would try, it depends who I'm with. Because if I'm near Tony, like just grab the idol. It's the final 8, just do it, whatever. And try to hide it and whatever. But if it's like, there's 19 people left, you're in a tribe of 9 and you're going and trying to the water well and trying to build an alliance, like it's like it really depends on the timing of the game and where you're at. And I feel like all winners in the final 8, it's like it's okay to grab, but he tried his hardest too to hide it. And like Luke said, like I feel like he didn't do that bad of a job. Yeah. It's just Tony is always on.
Right.
I would be scared to like loop back for it, because if Tony like sees you like hesitate or something, like as soon as you leave, Tony could just stick his hand in there and get it. Because like if you haven't claimed the idol yet.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ben did the best that he could in the situation.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just thought it was funny where Tony was like seriously offended. Tony was like, this is one of the things I love about Tony is he's such a player, but then he like comes across as so sincere when he's like, oh come on, but like I thought we had moved past this, Ben. Come on, man. And I just
like he makes you feel bad for things you should not feel bad for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway.
Shouldn't there be another idol out there still for them to find?
I don't think so, because I know that they like, so Tony found like the merge idol, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
because it wasn't one of those ones that visually splits in two. It looked different from those.
And so based on what I know, like they will always put like the quote unquote like merge idol back in play. So like they will always have one idol constantly out there, no matter what, like in the game at some point. But they will not always rehide necessarily another one that was like, you know, kind of from a tribal community.
Right.
So I think it changes. So it's just season to season. So I think like.
So it really kills me that they hid this one that Sophie went out with.
Yeah.
But they didn't hide the one Kim played. You know, they didn't hide the one. Who else had one going into merge?
Denise just played hers right before.
Right. I think it was just Kim and Sophie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I was surprised. I didn't think that there was going to be an idol out there. So when Ben like pulled that out of the tree, I was like, wait, what? Yeah. Like I thought we were found this idol.
Yeah.
Especially like, given the other advantages that are so
I'm used to them not hiding. I'm used to them not hiding the tribal idols when those get played. But if the merge idol gets played, they will hide it, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had it, but like, there's been times post-merge when like more than one idol has been in play that were both found post-merge, I feel like. And I don't know that for a fact, but I feel like this isn't the first time.
Yeah.
But and like
production does what production wants.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they, you know, want a very exciting finish. And I mean, they already have Edge of Extinction, you know, sending things into the game, but yeah, an extra idol couldn't hurt. Spice things up.
Yeah.
So we're sitting at 2 idols and a 50-50 coin. I think that's it.
That is it.
So we get another advantage sent back into the game this week, maybe?
That would be great.
It's possible, but it might be, maybe it won't be like anything immunity related. I don't know.
It could be a challenge advantage.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, a challenge advantage. Another extortion advantage.
Oh no. No, I was thinking more along the lines of like here's a station for you to practice the challenge for 30 minutes beforehand. Kind of thing.
Totally. We'd see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So going to the immunity challenge, I told JC this before you guys were all on, but this is interesting that Denise wins this immunity, and it is the 3rd time she's won immunity ever in her Survivor career, and all 3 times have been joint immunity wins. Like a man and a woman both win.
There we go. I didn't
So
know that.
she won with Carter in Philippines, then obviously she won with Jeremy on the pole, and then her and Tony. So I feel like that's a very like niche survivor fact for Denise.
Yeah. Carter. Throwback to Carter. Where you at, bro?
Only swap to call members have one immunity post merge.
Yeah.
Oh, and with Kim being voted out, this is the first time there are a majority original Cele members in the game since episode 1.
Really?
There have been equal, but DeCall has been up in numbers every single episode until now.
So it's Ben, Jeremy, Denise, and who's Michelle? No.
And Ben.
Damn.
And Ben.
Yeah, right, because Nick and Michelle were on the same. That makes sense. Wow, that's crazy. Damn.
Interesting.
So there might be this whole like actual DeCall new DeCall loyalty thing going on that we're just not getting in the edit. There could be that in play. I think they'd show it if like people were intentionally doing that, but
yeah.
Yeah, just based on like who you spent time with, who you feel comfortable with, so I could definitely see that being a factor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but you had some other fun facts about this challenge.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many times?
I'm sorry for derailing.
No, that's fine. We were talking about this too. How many times has this challenge been played like as an individual immunity challenge?
Oh, 6.
Oh, I was gonna say 5.
It's 7 actually.
Damn.
Ah.
Well, one time it was
also
a word
said
challenge.
Yeah, well, they did it as like a group challenge in David versus Goliath, which I did not include. So that would have been the 8th time.
Okay.
Yeah. And only one man has ever won it, which was Will Wall in Millennials versus Gen X.
I remember that. That was weird. He was like, yeah, when he won. I was like, okay. Well, not to derail this for one more second, though. Will Wall makes me very uncomfortable, but I would like to be his friend. I don't know.
Have you seen like recent photos of him?
No.
Oh my god, he is
completely
like
different?
it's only been a year, but the amount of growing up he's done, it's just it's so uncanny because we don't get Survivor players that young.
Yeah.
Like 3 years, hasn't it?
Has it been 3
years?
years?
3.5.
That was like 34, right?
33. I think it was he filmed in 2016 summer and then it premiered in 2016 fall.
Yeah.
But
I thought he was like season 37 maybe. Oh man, was it that long ago?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it has been that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at him.
Wait, he looks completely different.
I
Yeah.
know.
He's in law school?
Will.
Will, hit us up.
You know,
Not even in a hot way. Will, you're just... Okay, I take it back. Will looks so cool. Wait.
He really does.
yeah.
Oh man.
Will?
And it's not like Sophie, who was really young when she played, but looks identical now. No, Will is just, who is he? I love it.
Sophie looks different now, I feel like,
It's
too.
because
He's
of
an
hair,
adult.
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he was only 18. Like, I'm sure you guys look different than you were when you were 18.
Oh, 100. I'll send you pictures after. I
kind of don't.
Weirdly similar. Yeah.
Okay. I actually probably do too. So only Pat.
Yeah, I feel like men also, I feel like you keep growing for longer. Like I haven't grown since I was like 15. So, you know, like my size has not changed very much, like facial feature.
Yeah. I've grown an inch and I also gained 50 pounds because I was really skinny, like thin and not like broad.
I did that my freshman year of high school, gained 50 pounds. All the time.
Sorry for derailing this,
sorry.
but Will Wall, I am hitting up, not in a weird way, but he looks so cool, guys.
Oh, do you want to be on our podcast?
Will, I'm hitting you up in a weird way.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Let's get back.
I'm really, really bad today. I'm sorry.
Shouts to Will Wall for being the first man to win this challenge and also for growing up from being an 18-year-old on Survivor.
Yes,
Well,
we
well.
know.
Shouts to you, man. All right, moving forward.
I don't even know if I want to talk about this in depth because it's super depressing, but we had the peanut butter and cookies thing. 3 people stepped down, which also seems stupid because after the challenge is over, like you can't eat anymore, and literally everybody stepped down. So like
this is something that somebody I really want to remember who, but they're not supposed to talk about the stuff that goes on off camera, but it's widely accepted that they had 15 minutes to eat as much as they could.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Crazy.
That makes sense. The plate was
I've
like
seen a
most
couple Reddit posts that 15 minutes is what they were given.
Yeah.
I was dying when Kim like went to start eating off the tray and just like, just take it. No, that I wouldn't be able to eat. Just take it, Kim. And there was just like this back and forth for a minute. Where like Jeff was like actually really frustrated because he was like trying to like comment on the challenge, and like Kim was just like not gonna take the tray.
Yeah.
Just like took the milk, like took a couple cookies, and like I'm not taking it.
So what was your thoughts on this though? With like Nick said that he was falling off, so he might as well just like get something to eat and get a token. When I was rewatching it, I was really trying to look, and none of these people looks like they were wobbling at all. Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it might just be like arm fatigue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kim, I think, said she felt hers tipping. I think I read that as like a tweet or something.
Gotcha.
It might have been Michelle, but somebody said, "Oh, I felt it tipping, so I hopped down."
Well, I know Michelle and Kim both said in tribal council that like they felt like they were gonna fall anyway, so they might as well like take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And who knows? Like I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, we didn't hear from Denise? You know, did Denise have a lot more in the tank? Was Denise feeling like she was about to fall too? Like you just don't know.
Yeah. Nick said the same thing. He was like, "Can I get a token?" Like I might have been on like Rob's podcast, or it might have just been like I forget where on social media I saw it. But essentially, I think he like streams like video games a lot, and on his stream he was saying that he felt like he was gonna fall within like 5 minutes or less. So he was like, "How can I finesse this?" And once Jeff brought the food out, he was like, "Oh, let me see if I can finesse a coin, like a token."
Yeah.
And he finessed a token and some food for 15 minutes, which is both two good things for him going forward. And he's decent at immunity challenges, obviously, so it's good for him to end the game.
But Nick is always, I think it's so funny because basically every week Nick like hangs in there. He's like close to the end, but I don't think he's at any individual immunity challenge wins, at least this season. And I think it's funny because he's like never shitty. Like he never is like the first one out or like one of the first few. I feel like it's always like him and Jeremy or him and Tony. It's always like him and another person, and then he's always on the losing side of it. And I feel bad for him. He's working hard, but
well, I don't think he wants to win though. I think like he is like a super gamer, and like he really, I think is like, I'm not going to get immunity if I don't absolutely need it, because that's going to just put a target on my back.
Yeah,
totally.
I could see him turning it up later, and if it's going to be too late or not, because like Tony has enough momentum, Denise has momentum, like etc. But for now, I agree. It definitely seems like not that he's throwing it, but he's kind of just like, all right, I don't really need it. Why put a target on my back?
Yeah, sure.
It's a valid move. Nobody's coming after him right now.
Mm-hmm. This was a small moment that I was going to use in the game, but I thought it was going to be too obvious. So Tony cracks me up because when they get back, him and Sarah are talking, and like Sarah like hits him on the arm, and Tony goes, "Hey, that hurt. You got heavy hands, man." You don't tell people that she has heavy hands.
So mean.
I actively dislike, before we get away from the challenge, I actively dislike that every time they redo a challenge, they have to make it just a little harder. They have to like just tweak it a little bit. It's like, I get it. You don't want a 12-hour challenge, but we want like, these endurance challenges should not be ending after 15 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you want
to see them go for an hour.
Yeah, you want it to go for an hour. Otherwise, it's not an endurance challenge. It's a politics challenge, and I love politics challenge as a possibility. I really do like the whole trivia 3 strikes challenge. I don't like it as much when they're answering questions about each other. Because
really like that.
That forces some really game ending situations for some people.
That's why it's so great.
I know that's yes.
That's what we got with Flip and Marquesas.
I know.
You're taking oh shoot, what's it called? It's called Coconut Chop. That's what the challenge is called.
Right.
And people's games are lost based on the questions that are asked, and it kills me because you've taken their social game out of their hands at that point.
Well, but you can answer the questions honestly, I'm sorry, you don't have to answer the questions honestly. Like, you could lie, so then you don't have to look fake. But I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily what was going on here. Like, I do think really the only politicking going on was from Nick and Tony. Like, I don't think anybody else was necessarily politicking.
Yeah.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about like this being a politicking scenario. But
just in general, with having these sorts of challenges, it's easier to be like, hey, you want to step off, and we'll come up with some sort of a repayment.
Yeah. it's just it's a weird, because I understand exactly why they do it. It's difficult to film a challenge that long, but I'm excited for them to start getting into some of these like obstacle course puzzle challenges that we have to be getting soon.
Yeah.
Actually, we're definitely getting soon, because we get one that starts off with a ball on a track that you have to run down and catch, and that one's definitely going to end with a puzzle. Probably it might end with a slingshot. I don't know.
Yeah. I know I've been missing the puzzles this season. There were a lot pre-merge, but then post-merge we haven't like really seen any puzzles. And as a puzzle person, I'm like, come on, give me the puzzles. That's what I want. What can you do?
We haven't had a slide puzzle yet. That's going to be a thing.
For sure.
I don't think we've got a slide puzzle yet. Simotion is very likely. The one where you've got the cue balls on a metal track, and you have to catch it with one hand, put it into the track.
I like that one. That's one of my favorites.
Or
Simotion
like
is very likely.
Or you have to like get the cue balls into like little divots. We haven't had that one yet, have we?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'm expecting that one to be a possible thing. I'm getting the feeling, I don't think it's going to happen from a realistic standpoint, but from a just like vibe standpoint, I'm really excited for the climb up a bunch of stairs and then go down a water slide challenge.
I was just thinking about that, because I know like was the final 4 challenge in the season Tyson won in Blood versus Water.
Yep.
I'm always a fan of the water slide or like the slip and slide, like the one where they have to do the slip and slide and go and grab like a
they gotta oil up
or whatever. They have to oil up, slide down the slide.
We haven't seen that one in so long.
Yeah, that one's.
I only remember that in Heroes Villains. I'm sure they've done it other times. That's like the time that I remember it being iconic.
Right. Yeah. People like jump and don't move at all on the slip and slide. What are you doing wrong?
It's been played 4 or 5 or 6 times. It's definitely but not since like season 30.
Yeah.
Any
more challenge stuff before we go to the pre-tribal camp life?
If you look at the press photos, the only person who got a shot of their water falling was Michelle. She got the embarrassment photo in the press photos, and everybody else was like normal.
Poor Michelle.
Oh God.
All the Opry fans are like, "Oh yeah, we love seeing well, so we go back to camp, and I'm immediately pissed because Ben tells Tony that Kim is trying to blindside him, or was trying to blindside him for community. We hear so much in Survivor, like, don't initiate a plan before the immunity challenge because it's probably not going to follow through, and also you don't know who's going to win immunity. And I feel like, I don't feel like I can sit here and critique Kim Spradlin because I adore her so much. Like, based on what we've seen, she maybe did like initiate the plan too early. And like, if it's already kind of in everybody's minds after the Sophie vote that like Tony's a big threat, it seems like it would be easy to kind of just like get everybody on board later, because isn't everybody already kind of thinking that in the back of their heads?
Well, I think it's one thing for Kim to be like to her closest allies and the people that she trusts enough to start talking like, what do you want to do for like next moves? What are you thinking going forward? Right, like Denise, like Michelle. But like, why are you going to like Ben and Nick, who have previously, especially Nick, who literally just worked with Tony on this last vote and did this big move with him? Like, why are you trusting those people so far before the vote happens when you like don't necessarily know where their loyalty lies? I think that's the part. It's not necessarily like getting the plan in motion with her close allies, but I think expanding it to like the entire group, except for, I mean, she told everybody except for, I think it was just Jeremy and Tony and Sarah that she didn't let in initially, right?
I think so. And I mean, I think this is like the brilliance of Tony's move last week, is that originally like Kim and Jeremy were like locked in together, and like Kim did not want to vote out Jeremy last week, but she felt like her hands were tied. And like Tony basically took these two people that should have been like locked at the hip working together and just like completely separated them. And that's why like Jeremy was so locked in with Tony this episode, is because Tony saved him last week. And it's like really separated the kind of the two most on the bottom lions that should be helping each other out.
I just don't understand why Kim isn't. I know we see her as a threat, and I'm sure they do too. And that's like kind of the reason why she gets booted here, just because like she can win challenges, which we've seen. Obviously, she can do strategy, and she has a really good social game, which we've seen like evidenced in like secret scenes. So she still has all three of those things. But I'm just curious, like always, like why they're not putting that stake on Kim as like I don't get why she's like stuck in the middle as like this person that we are afraid of, but like we're not that afraid of. Because like for this round, in my head, I was like, well, if I were Kim, would I just like stay under the radar and not throw a move out? And I feel like I would have thrown a move out, but maybe just like a couple hours later or closer to tribal. But at the same time, she thought she was in a good spot, so she was like, let's get let's get this person out who is this huge threat, and everyone was just like, okay, and then just immediately blew it up as if like that Jeremy's not a huge threat himself. It's just weird. Like the hierarchy of threats is obviously dismantled this season because everyone's won and everyone's been that big threat for the most part, save for Michelle, who was fighting.
Like specifically, I feel like people look at their threats as not like. I feel like traditionally, oh, this is as a general. Sometimes there's specifically like a challenge threat or a social threat, but I feel like in this game specifically, when you have all of these winners that have each won for their different reasons, you especially have like these different like categorical threats. So it's not like one person is the best at everything. Like there's not one person that's better than every single other player out here in any, like there might be one person that's the strongest social player, but they're not also going to be the strongest in all of the other domains that make up a good survivor player. So I think that's what makes this a little bit different.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And really, I think that everybody was on board with the Tony plan. Like, I think that if he didn't win immunity, he at least would have gotten votes. And, you know, whether or not he plays the idol, you know, I think would be whether he goes home or not. But yeah, I think ultimately Kim told one too many people. Like, I don't think that Nick was going to tell Tony, obviously, because he didn't tell Tony when he confronted him. But yeah, so Ben was the only one who spilled the plan, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think that was the beginning of the end for Kim. So
Ben spills the plan, and then Tony approaches Nick, and he goes like, "Hey Nick, have you heard my name?" And Nick's like, "No, man, I haven't heard your name." And then Tony totally calls him out on this bullshit, and it's like, "Oh, really? Because I heard you were present for this conversation."
Yeah.
In my mind, if I was Nick, I'd be like, "What? No, I wasn't. Like Ben's just trying to like start shit. Like what is Ben doing here?" And like flip the switch back on Ben to like save my own ass. But instead, Nick just like crumbles in Tony's sight, and like I don't know. I felt like was a huge biff on Nick's part because Nick like clearly was acting suspicious. Tony got more suspicious of Nick and like now is not going to trust Nick going forward.
And
what do you guys think?
Then Nick asked Tony for a fire token.
I
feel a little light, man. It's like, are you for real?
That might be part of that whole conversation.
Yeah.
Like maybe let the fire token go.
Yeah, I think like because Nick originally said like I don't think he said flat out no. He said, "Oh, like I can't remember if anybody said your name," which is like. That's not and then it's like, oh, eventually he gets around to saying, oh yeah, well, I guess she did mention it to me, you know, X amount of time ago or something like that. But yeah, it was very like it was not convincing at all. This is I think he just got like caught off guard and like Tony's very intimidating.
Right.
Yeah, it was not like for
because you can't take a double take there and be like, well, let me think. He was like voicing his internal monologue, like when it should have been like a snap decision when you're completely full, completely not tired. You know, you had coffee, you've eaten that day, and someone's like, have you done this thing? You sit there and you're like, yeah, no, I'm good. I didn't do that yet. But he was just like talking what he was literally thinking about, which like he's usually good at. He's usually good at being like he can be game body when he needs to be. He can be social when he needs to be. It just sucks because he's going against like these. He's a good Survivor player, but he's going against like the greats of Survivor, and Tony's one of those people that can just twist your arm, basically like Boston Rob could earlier in the pre-merge, and he just make you say whatever you want.
Yeah, like reminded me of the interaction between Boston Rob and Ben. It like had certain parallels where like Boston Rob just like asked Ben questions and like minorly threatening ways, but not like abundantly threatening, and Ben just crumbled. I feel like it was the same exact thing with Tony and Nick in this scenario.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It's that division between new school and old school too, because he's like very much like, I need these answers, whereas Rob was like, come on, man, we're friends, like let's talk about this. Well, it's like we don't know if Boston Rob and Ben are friends. I think they're friendly outside the game, but I don't think they're that friendly. Like it's not like him and Sandra spending a month on an island together.
Right. So, and then also what we have happen is, so like Kim's alliance, I'll call it, but that large group of people she assembled to go after Tony basically decide, like, okay, for Ben, we'll get rid of Jeremy because like Ben has been wanting Jeremy gone for a long time. And then Michelle, literally in a confessional, was basically like, I'm distraught. Like Jeremy is my family out here. Like, I don't want to get rid of Jeremy. And she gives him her 50-50 coin, which I was shocked by.
Yeah.
And then votes for him.
And
thinking
then
he's going to play the coin.
Yeah.
No, let's talk about that though, because I feel like some people are super down and say this is like a really bad look for Michelle. It's like give somebody her advantage and then vote for them. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it in players in the past. I mean, even like last season with what was her name? Kelly, the one that had 2 idols, and she had one idol that was like inspiring. Yeah, and she threw a vote on him, but then had him play an idol, so that way she could still stay like anonymous. Like nobody has to know who this advantage came from, so she can still stay in the good graces of her alliances, but still help out this other person and like curry favor. It was weird because then like Jeremy went around and like told people that Michelle gave it to him, which I feel like kind of defeats the purpose. Like, why then is Michelle still voting? Like, I think if you do that, you have to make sure it's anonymous, or else like you might as well just not vote for Jeremy.
Like, maybe I think Michelle thinks that she is Jeremy's only lifeline, that like Jeremy is lost without me, so like I'm gonna be the only person saving him, but he's not gonna tell anybody. But obviously Jeremy is working a lot closer with Tony than Michelle knows about. Yeah, but I also feel like at this point Michelle has to know that she is not high on the list of people that as far as threat levels go. And this is where she really needs to start stepping up. So from that standpoint, I think you kind of need to, like, it might have been better for her to like play the coin for Jeremy, or like do it at Tribal, like put on a show for the jury, because at this point they're not going to vote for you.
Yeah.
You might not be able to play the coin for somebody else.
Well, she can give it to him though. Like, why not just give it to him?
Yeah, but like
either way.
Yeah.
And that's like what's crazy too, because she spent, I'm pretty sure, 4 fire tokens to get this, and then gives it to Jeremy. And I agree, I don't think it's a bad move, but I think it needs to be a flashier move. And now that it's not anonymous, when he plays that, so let's say the final 3 is Tony, Jeremy, and Michelle. If you're sitting there with Jeremy and Tony, and Jeremy's listing his resume or resume points, and he says, well, I played the 50-50 coin, and she'd be like, well, guess what? I spent 4 fire tokens, which I used my social game to get, and gave it to you to continue our strategic bond, and you played it. Correct, you played it, but honestly, like, it's basically like going to rocks. It's a 50-50 chance, and it's honestly worse than going to rocks, because it's a 50-50 chance of you being safe after playing it, and I did this all for you. But like, I don't know if I know she has the wherewithal as a human outside the game, because she's very passionate about what she does, because I follow Michelle, she's very into everything she's into, but after 39 days of starving and being told that you're like not a big threat, it's like, how much more can you take before you walk in there and believe that you're not a big threat? It sucks.
And I do think that alliance that was made earlier in the episode of like Nick, Michelle, and Denise, like that is what those 3 should be doing. Like I was like, finally, like this is, if I was one of them, this is what I would have been thinking all along, is like, how do I get all of these stragglers to the end together who have not necessarily been working that closely? Like obviously Nick and Michelle have. And not Denise, and they kind of say that they're going to pull in Kim as a number, I think, / shield. But yeah, I mean, I think even if Michelle is in that 3, Denise has the Sander thing. I think Nick has just been playing an all-around really good game, kind of being in everybody's ear. And so Michelle needs to be like, okay, like what's my thing going to be? Like what's going to separate me from the other 2? But again, I don't want to be too hard on her, because let's say we just finished Final 8, but like there's an extra round built in there, so she does have some more time to do something. And in the preview for next week, it looks like she says that she's ready to make a move, which of course don't trust the preview, but I'm hopefully like her and Nick are going to do something next episode.
Yeah, that's hard to like circumvent. It's hard to, or like I shouldn't say circumvent, but like create that. Like if she said I'm ready to make a move, which she did, it's hard for production to be like, well, splice it. So that seems good, and it seems like she's saying like her, Nick, and maybe Denise are doing something, which is exciting.
Well, but we had Nick saying this whole episode, like, that he's ready to make his big move. He's ready to do something. And then, like, what did he do? Like, he voted out Kim, who was...
We said it a couple of times where he said that. Like, when
I know. I was frustrated.
He was working with Parvati. When Parvati was trying to get him to flip on his initial alliance, he was like, maybe it's time for me to take control of this game. And then he just goes along and votes with whoever he was initially going to vote with. So I don't really trust... Yeah, that's true.
With the Wendell boot, he was like, I'm coming for blood. You know, you burned down my best friend in this game, and I'm just left with Michelle, and I don't know what to do. And then he didn't do it. It's been rounds. I like Nick outside and inside the game, but inside the game right now, I'm like, I'm confused.
I thought it was really funny how you were like, "Oh, Nick's in everybody's ear," and we've seen like there was that whole montage of him like walking into these conversations and just standing there. And even this episode, when Tony and Sarah were like bickering by the beach, Nick just like walked along and was like staring at them.
Yeah, he's like, literally not even being like, "Oh, hey guys, what's up?" Like a normal human. He like lost it for a second.
Also, early in the season, people were talking about how, like, when Nick was on the bottom, he'd be saying, "This is supposed to be winners at war, but no one's starting any war. Like, no one's even playing the game." And, like, once Nick's off the bottom, "Oh, yeah, now we're playing, guys. Yeah, now we're stepping it up." And it's like, Nick, this is so transparent.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, man.
Has Michelle been bequeathed, like, twice as many tokens as any other player?
It's been a lot.
I have to go look at the count, but I think as many people have given Michelle their tokens as like everybody else in the game combined. Not literally that many. Yeah. It hasn't been that many, but she's got really good jury management right now. I don't know if she has a resume to go with it, but everybody on the jury is on good terms with her.
Yeah. And I think that's something to take into account is like how much people like you. That's definitely a factor. And that could be the difference. If the final three is her, Nick, and Denise, then maybe they just like Michelle more. And out of those three, that's a perfectly acceptable reason to vote for somebody.
Mm-hmm. Right. Although I do feel like since it is, season 40, Winners at War, all winner season, I think in my head, at least, I'm anticipating that the jury is going to be a less bitter jury than maybe we've seen in other seasons because these are all excellent players and they all respect solid gameplay. And so I would imagine maybe the strategic element is going to weigh a little bit more heavily in their minds than perhaps like just being like a social player and being on good terms with the jury would be.
100%. That would make sense too, because they're not saying that they're bitter in the game, but there's definitely like a bad taste in the game player's mouth. Not in like a negative way, like 39 or like even like Nicaragua after the double quit. It's just very like, yo, we've really put our heart and soul into this, and you're gonna blindside me or you're gonna do X, Y, Z. Like inside the game, they seem very bent up. That even though they're going to the edge, the people at the edge, like, yeah, Sophie like is having a little like emotional trouble when she first gets there. Same thing with Yule. Same thing with Parvati. Everyone kind of goes through that, but they kind of get to a point where they're like, okay, let's see what they're doing. It's the entertainment of it too, and the camaraderie of being part of like the largest jury on any reality competition show that we like Big Brother and Survivor can say they've ever had. So it's fun in that way too.
Yeah. The only bitter interaction I foresee is Sarah laying into Tony.
Yeah.
Again. That one is that could be, she votes for somebody else because she's pissed at him, even if he did a good move. Yeah. But everybody else, we're gonna get a deserving winner, hands down. Yeah. Not nobody. We might not get a deserving edit, but there is nobody who's gonna truly walk away being like, no, we didn't get a deserving winner, because they've all proven they deserve it. Even Nick, even Denise, even Michelle, who were sitting here literally saying we're not seeing enough from them.
Unless an Edge of Extinction person wins, which I think is a non-zero chance.
It's a non-zero chance.
It's probably like kind of higher than we would normally like it to be. Like it's probably in like the teens or something. Like it's not that.
Do you guys get happy with? So say it's like somebody that's gone off recently and they come back. And
yes,
win.
Kim
like,
won.
say Tony goes off this episode. Or I know. I was gonna say Kim, but I feel like Kim is too much of a biased answer because me and you are both big Kim stans. But but like anybody else, like say Sarah goes off next and she comes back and ends up winning, would that be satisfying for you? Because it's not so much like a Chris Underwood thing where he goes off as one of the first players to be eliminated and then comes back and wins. Like if they've been more involved throughout and then come back, does that seem more okay to you guys?
When did that happen in Redemption Island? Did Tina go off and come right back? Ozzy, right? He got voted out and then immediately came back. Right?
Well, he got voted off strategically one time, correct?
Yeah.
Against Cochran.
Right.
But so so he was right before the merge, right? And then he came back, and then he played the merge, and then he got voted out again, and then came back.
Yep.
Okay, because I haven't seen that season since it was on air, but I remember like because I just watched like the Ozzy like RHAP like recap thing, so that's why I was like, okay, but like so that's like in my eyes like especially everyone that's left in the game, I either except for Ben, I don't like Ben, and I don't think that'll change. But everyone else in the game, I like, and I'm like, okay, like if you make some moves, and I think like no one is even including Ben is incapable of winning right now if they can add a couple things to their resume now. But we're getting to the point where it's like if you don't add to your resume, which can include going out and coming right back in and then winning a couple immunities and winning fire, or maybe giving an immunity necklace up to win fire like Chris did, and then putting on a show for the jury, you could definitely win. And like someone like Sarah, I feel like is probably like the top 3 contender to win at this point anyway. So if she goes out at 6 and comes back and wins wins another immunity or plays an idol that she got from coming back or something, yeah, Sarah, I feel like anyone could win if they did it like that. Even like Nick and Michelle, who are pretty under the radar, could certainly do that too. I think it's people like that are showing that they're losing their cool a little bit, like Ben, or like I like Denise, but I don't think she was out of pocket at all. But that in tribal council, when she was like, "Stop," like that could be. Even though Rob made fun of it, I could see someone being like, "Well, that's not ethical." So it's
I
like
actually think that I think that could help Denise actually, because I think everyone's perception of Denise is that she's just like a sweet lady, and like I don't know, I feel like bucking people's perception of you is a positive for the jury, which I know is, that's not the point of what we're talking about.
But but it's true. It goes with it too.
I thought Jeremy was worse there.
I agree.
Jeremy pulled a second chance Spencer right there.
Yeah, he like
elaborate.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
So at the end of second chances, and I think we're talking final 4. Spencer turns to Jeremy and says, "You're taking me. You have to take me. You don't put me on that jury because, oh man, I'm going to turn them all against you." And Jeremy's like, "Yeah, we've been in an alliance this whole time. I'm a loyal person. Like, of course I'm taking you, but why would you say that?" Jeremy turning to Denise and saying, "You know, you're only safe right now. You're not necessarily safe moving forward," is a very...
kind of like a very smarmy, like smart alecky answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's...
But I think, wasn't he kind of right though? Like, and which
well, Denise was sassy first. To be fair, like Denise was like, "Okay, did. I'm ready to vote." And then Jeremy was like, "Are you really that sure? Like, you only have this necklace right now." And then she like got extra sassy, which I can get on. I don't know. Like, I as somebody that can like snap sometimes and get pissed really easily, I feel like Denise like would just had it up to here, you know. And so she was like, "Whatever, I'm done with you guys. Let's just go do this."
Mm-hmm.
And I can't.
I absolutely hate it because going into the season, Denise and Jeremy were my winner picks.
Oh.
Right. At merge, I swapped over to Sophie because I was kind of buying into the edit a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lose Jeremy or Denise right now. Stop fighting.
I know.
Yeah. But that's where it kind of comes back, because it's like I seriously feel like anyone could win this game, including an EOE returnee. That's the part that scares me.
Yeah.
I don't want an EOE winner, but if they come back in and pull a Chris Underwood, if they deserve it, I want them to win.
Yes.
I don't think a pre-merged EOE person will win. I don't think that's even a possibility.
Right. Like Natalie Anderson.
Natalie's the only one who's got a chance.
Well, I don't think that she would win though. Like, I don't think she would get the votes to win. Like, I don't think like Natalie, Amber, Danny. I don't even know. I can't list all the pre-merge people. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, who beats Tony? Like, who goes against Tony in the end and beats him? I think Sarah.
I don't think anybody can beat him.
I don't think so either. I think if Tony makes it final 3, he's got it.
I would vote for Tony over Sarah, but like I guess Sarah has a little bit of clout to be like, well, I was the puppet master, but even though she's not really at most points, but like that's what I'm saying. Like these people have to start taking shots at even bigger targets. Yes, you got Kim and Sophie out; those are 2 big targets. But you got to work a little harder within the game and without the game. Just because Denise isn't the hugest target coming in doesn't mean she's not a big target now. Because she still made a Sandra move, and she's still in the middle of the pack. She still has a better social game than Ben. She still made bigger moves than Nick and Michelle. And even above her, you then have Tony, Jeremy, and Sarah. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people in this game, especially with like JC was saying earlier, there's like 5 or 6 rounds left for them to really make, or like 4 or 5 rounds left for them to make some serious headway with some big moves. That's a little scary.
Yeah, totally. You've got 7, 6 part 2, 5, fire.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what that reminds me of when Brad Culpepper was like 5 and 9.
Was my audio and my visual not lined up?
No, it was. It was just.
Okay.
I'm just bad with numbers. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of room left for people to grow, per se, if they need to make big moves.
Totally.
Yeah, I agree.
Can we back up a second and just break down Tribal Council a little bit? Because this was one of the things, like, when I was doing my rewatch, I was most curious about, because I did not understand. Like, I could understand why Ben would maybe flip, but I was, like, very confused with the Nick move to
me
vote
too.
out him. And so I was trying to watch and understand what was happening. And even the first time when I was watching it, I was like, damn, this is why Kim is amazing, because she, like, totally sensed that her ass was on the line. And she got up and, like, went over to everybody and in, like, the most non-confrontational way was like, what's going on? Like, have you heard my name? Is Tony gunning for me? You know, and, like, this, like,
I was so impressed with the Tribal Council. Like, that was like a master class, and that's why I was so shocked that she was going, because like she went to so many people and like was so convincing. Like, if I was in that Tribal Council, there was no way I would vote for Kim. But what confused me the most, and this is like the only quote that I wrote down,
your bias.
Yeah, I would take Kim to the end and like let her win $2 million for me. That's a different conversation. Okay, towards the end of Tribal Council, Nick says to Sarah, Tony is telling me to write Kim, but I'm not going to. He says that to Sarah, and this is like towards the end of what we're seeing in the edit. Mm-hmm. And so he votes for Kim. I'm just really confused.
Right. Well, and then also in the beginning, Ben to Tony, one of the things that I wrote down, once Tony started breaking up, once Tony like leaned over to Jeremy being like, who are you voting for, man? Ben literally got up and was like, Tony, this isn't cool. You need to stop doing this. I think with just like breaking down, making tribals like mayhem. And so I'm like, first you're like reprimanding Tony for doing this. And now you're like, perhaps like I kind of, my perspective is that the vote, like the outcome of the vote changed during Tribal Council. I think if they had just gone in and voted, I think Jeremy would be perhaps gone or would have had to like play his coin or whatever else. And so I was like trying to find out where this breakdown happened, because you had both Nick and Ben saying that they were like voting for Jeremy and like getting upset with Tony. And then I'm like, why are you voting for him? Like I don't know. I was really frustrated.
I think the evidence for that too is the fact that we are confused, and I didn't watch it twice this week, but you watched it twice and are still confused about why.
I did too.
And that's, I think, big enough credence for us who are like very super fans to realize like it's probably in the whispering at Tribal, and like they did better with the captioning this week. But I appreciated. Yeah, I appreciated it 100% too. And I didn't even realize till after that I was like, oh, that's why I understood more of it. But there is something missing there, especially with Nick. And I think we honestly, to be like completely frank, don't get it because he's not that important for, at least, I mean, he was important for this round, but maybe not in terms of the edit. And that might be why we're just not getting that, like, fill in the blank of, like, why did Nick flip? As if it was, like, Tony. We'd be like, oh, why the fuck did Tony flip? He's, like, the biggest character right now. We would get that.
I'm curious if we'll get some explanation of it next episode, like, once they come back from Tribal. Yeah. I'm curious if we'll get a little bit of information as to why that happened. Yeah. I was also very confused because literally, I don't know about you guys, but when Jeremy was sitting there with this token, like the 50-50 coin in his pocket, and was like looking at Tony like, okay, yeah, I'm going to play it. Okay, never mind, I'm not. I was like, play the fucking coin, Jeremy. You're going to go home with this. Yeah. But I was very conflicted because it would have been Kim if he was, immune. Yeah. But still, I was like, Jeremy, what are you doing? You're a smart man. Like, what's going on here? And then he didn't get voted out. It was like absolutely wild that he was able to hold on to that. Tony held on to his idol, and Ben has this idol. Nothing was played this round. The one thing Tony wanted it to go. Like, that's like absolutely wild to me.
Tony I feel like he must have used like every bit of social capital he had, like he was calling in all the favors, like any relationship that he had, he was like putting it all on the line to get Kim out this week. And like, even though that's super impressive and he does have an idol, like, you just have to think, after he masterminded the Sophie vote, after he bullies people into voting for Kim, I don't want to say bullies because people get all up in arms about that term, but you know what I mean? Like, he strong-armed people into voting Kim at Tribal Council. You have to think people are going to be just even more pissed coming back to Kim this time than, it's just like building on itself, how pissed they are at Tony. But he has an idol. He's winning immunity challenges. Like, the jury is saying out loud, like, oh, Tony's a boss. Like, oh, look what Tony did. Like, it's insane how high on the list he is to win.
And it's like,
what I was thinking too was like he showed everybody that he had this idol, right? Yeah. It wasn't like he had talked to Sarah in private, being like, "Do you want me to play this for you?" He made it very clear that he had this idol in his possession and then didn't play it, which is like a huge move to me because it's a tactic. I mean, people already were worried about voting for him, and then now that they know he has an idol, they know that he's won 3 immunity challenges in a row. Like, is that going to deter even more votes? Like, is he going to have to play at this next vote, or is he going to hold on to it more? Like, I'm really curious how Tony uses that idol and the knowledge of the idol to get further in the game.
Right now, it's such a parallel to Kagayan that it's like crazy because it's even a little. He's playing like Kagayan on like steroids because he has an idol he can actually use, which he did have then. But he also like then had this god idol that he was lying about that he can use longer for, like than it actually was meant for. But now he actually has this idol he can use until 5. He's shown that he can win 3 immunity challenges, and he has Sarah for longer in the game, having Cops R Us still intact somehow.
Yeah.
It's like watching the same season, but with all winners instead. But like he played a more subdued pre-merge, which is like what he had to do. So he's really like playing this like a one-trick pony in the end of the game. One trick Tony. But that's what I'm saying. Like he is like he. I was gonna say he was playing a one trick Tony, but then now he's like not because he wins challenges. He has idols. He's doing all these things that are solidifying himself in the game. It's kind of crazy. I love one trick Tony. That's good.
So you got Tony. You've got Tony as played by Tony. You have Spencer as played by Jeremy. You have Cass as you got Wu as played by Nick.
Yes.
Cass as played by Sarah.
Yeah.
Or Trish.
Sarah doesn't play Sarah in this one at least.
Trish
Sarah as played by Wendell.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's definitely, there's a lot of parallels to it. It's really weird. I've also seen like this other theory that's like the pre-merge boots like match like the quality or like I think I might have sent to you guys, but like the threat level of the post-merge boots didn't really follow for this week because Kim is a huge threat, so that kind of went out the window. But I'm just more so thinking of it as interesting as thinking of it like his evolution of his game and how like it's just very like Shakespearean, not to be all English major, but he really had to like fail to like come back and do even better. Regardless of if they win, like Kim, Tony, like those type of people have played games that have shown that their wins were not just flash in the pans. Like they really hauled ass to make sure that they were even better this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Shout out to Kim Spradlin. I love you. That is all.
Will Wall, Kim Spradlin.
Kim, I don't have anything against you. No, I mean, I do like Kim. I'm not as enthralled as the three of you are.
I mean, no one is, so it's okay. Anyways, if we don't need more to talk about the episode, I do have a game for you guys.
All right.
So
I've been studying.
No,
I'm just kidding. I haven't studied at all.
Okay, so most of them are going to be quotes from the episode. I'm going to ask you who said it, and then I also just have 3 questions of like Facebook comments.
I can't wait.
What I noticed most from the Facebook comments is that they all hate the Whispering at Tribal. Like I cannot even tell you, like 50% of the comments was about how much they hate Whispering at Tribal. They're so mad about it.
Is this you don't have to say what page is it from, but is it from the page that we met from?
No, it's the Survivor CBS page.
Oh, even better. Perfect.
Yeah, this was not like a super fan type thing. This is like we're getting to like the casual of the casuals. Perfect. Okay, so
I'm curious what page y'all found the post on, because I know Noah put the post up on like 7 or 8 different pages.
Okay, we were. So
we'll get that off camera.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in the order that you appear on my screen. So I'll start with JC first, and then go to Pat, and then go to Cassie.
All right.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Okay, so this is, I'm just going to start with the who said it. So, question 1. In Tribal Council, Jeremy said, "It's like we're running on an endless treadmill." One of the people from EOE said, "Us today." So, for 2 points, you can guess the person outright, or for 1 point, I can give you options.
So I'm going to go ahead and try to impress you by knowing the episode title was said by both Jeremy and Ben. No, I think Sophie said that. I'm pretty sure it was Sophie.
That is incorrect.
Okay, was it?
The correct
It was definitely a female character. But
Natalie?
It was Natalie.
Yeah.
It was Natalie.
Okay. So, Pat, this question is for you.
Okay.
Who said, "Out of everybody here, I think I'm pretty physical. I feel like I have an edge in this challenge"?
Ooh. Can I have the options?
Yes. Your options are Boston Rob, Danny, Tyson, or Wendell.
it doesn't like Boston Rob has like no like he's full of like himself, and he obviously like almost killed himself doing this challenge. So I feel like it's not him. Wendell, Tyson, and the other one was Danny. I would say Tyson.
Correct answer was Boston Rob.
What? What?
Oh.
Good.
Another fun
good.
fact. Every single player except Sandra got a confessional this episode.
Except Sandra.
Oh.
That's a fun fact. Yeah, I thought it was so funny that Rob said that when I went back. He said, out of everybody here, I think I'm pretty physical. Really? Out of everybody on the edge of extinction, you think you're pretty physical?
There's a CrossFit trainer. It was the first boot of the season.
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay. Question 3. This is for Kassie. So, who said, I don't want to do a tremendous effort challenge?
Me.
Gosh, I'm trying to think.
And
Can I have the options? Yeah.
So your options are Amber, Ethan, Sophie, or Adam.
Can I have the options again? I'm sorry. Well,
Your options are Amber, Ethan, Sophie, or Adam.
I'm gonna go with Ethan.
That is correct.
Yeah, this is the one part I didn't. I fast forwarded through the Edge of Extinction with my rewatch.
Okay. Okay, so we are back to JC. Who said she's an endurance queen?
Oh, I think. I'll go with Parv.
Correct answer was Natalie.
Natalie? Okay.
I would have known that.
Was Natalie talking about Sophie?
She was talking about Danny.
She was talking about. Really?
Purple
Yeah,
Danny.
they were comparing to see if Wendell or Danny was going to be the 6th place finisher, and Natalie said she's an endurance queen.
Okay. I don't even remember watching that part.
Okay.
No, I had to ask in the chat because like giving Edge players points for finishing. I had 2 question marks because I only saw 4 people finish. Reminding anybody watching that I am a bad person who watches illegally streamed websites instead of paying for all access.
It's okay, JC. We still love you. Okay. Pat, who said, that's what makes this game so good, is that it is so hard. I'm sorry, this quote cracked me up for some reason.
That I remember it. That's what makes this game so good. Is that so hard?
That's what makes this game so good, is that it is so hard.
That's it, like full stop.
That was the quote.
Can I have the options?
Your options are Yule, Adam, Danny, and Boston Rob.
Boston Rob.
That is correct.
Yes. Okay, because I heard it in his accent, and I was like, that's him.
It is so hard.
Yeah, that's how he said. Yep. No, 100%.
Kassie, who said this stupid hole?
I'm trying to think if it was either. I feel like it was Danny or Boston Rob because both of them like fell into things. I'm gonna say Danny.
The correct answer was Nick.
Damn it.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. The first were all Edge of Extinction. So yeah.
What was the hole he was referencing?
It was during the. I'm sorry. During the idol search, he goes up to a tree, reaches his hand in, and said, "This stupid hole. One day there's going to be an idol in there."
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. JC, who said a mosquito could have bit me in the eyeball?
I don't remember that one at all. Yeah, you're going to give me choices, and it's still not going to help. Yeah, go ahead and give me some choices, but it's not going to help. I'm not going to get this one.
Your choices are Tony, Kim, Ben, or Jeremy.
I'll go with Jeremy.
The correct answer is Tony.
Okay.
He was like a bee. I could have sneezed.
Yeah, he was talking about the ways he could have lost the immunity challenge.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cracked me up.
Who said the immunity challenge was a son of a bee? And that's an actual quote.
I kind of want to guess on the first time. Sorry, I'm playing with the stuffed animal. I kind of want to guess on the without a clue, but can you give me choices? Because like I have anxiety.
Yeah, your options are Denise, Tony, Kim, and Michelle.
I'm gonna go with my gut here, Jeff. I love when they say that. I'm gonna go with. Well, I just said Jeff because Jeff Probst. I don't want you to think I think your name's Jeff, just so we're clear. I would say Michelle.
Correct answer is Kim.
Oh! I could see her saying that. I always just think of Michelle because Michelle's like, she always says like, you whippersnappers. Like she says
quick things. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I just love that, like, hearing like parents who used to curse, like who can't curse anymore. So like Kim, I can just see Kim in front of her 3 kids saying, "Oh, son of a b." Like, yeah. Okay. So last one before we go to the Facebook questions. This is for Kassie, who said, "This is the part of the war that's going to get really ugly. This is going to be more like friendly fire."
God, I like am hearing it.
I
know JC knows it.
It's either Ben or Tony. I'm like pretty sure it's Ben or Tony. Maybe it's Jeremy. I'm gonna say Jeremy. I'm locking it in.
Correct answer is Jeremy.
Oh, good.
I'm laughing because at the start of the quote game, I said it was said by I said the episode title was said by the 2 people, and then the episode title was the last.
No, it's also funny because my last question for this round was going to be, who said I am distraught? But Kassie said that earlier in the podcast. That is Michelle.
Yes.
I just feel like that's something I would say, and I was like, I identify with Michelle at this moment.
So is that 2 points, Cass? And
Cass has 3 points.
3
Cass
points
has 3 points. Pat has 1, and you have 0. But we're still going to do the Facebook round, even though Kassie already won. Because this is hilarious. I had so much fun making this segment. I wish I could have made it longer, but it's time consuming a lot more than the other section was.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with JC.
Okay.
So Survivor had this comment on one of their posts that said, would anybody step down for cookies and peanut butter? And then they posted a picture of it. So you're going to identify which of these replies did I write and which one were actually, neither the other 3 are real. So you're trying to find the one that was not a real comment.
Okay.
Okay, so A, nope, I can't believe he gave up a fire token though. I'd like to know the significance of them. B, Survivor, that looks disgusting. Did they refrigerate that stuff like the milk?
That one has to be real.
C, if it was me, I would sneak a cookie to the jury to win votes. D, that is diarrhea waiting to happen.
C is the fake one.
Yeah, that's correct. The least funny one was written by me.
Wait, which one was?
That was actually.
If it was me, I would sneak a cookie to the jury.
Nice.
That this cracked me up so hard.
Wait, so which one?
That looks
But
like
I like that
diarrhea waiting to happen.
If I was Jeremy, or not Jeremy, sorry, if I was Tony, I'd have been like, all right, I'll give you a token for stepping down, but you give me a cookie.
Yeah, draw one.
Jeff would not have allowed that. Jeff
You would not have allowed it.
rules.
Them's
Okay.
the rules.
So, Pat, this was a link to the episode. Hold on, let me look at this real quick. I think I have a mistake. Okay, no, yeah, this was just a link to the episode, and these 3 of these were actual comments. So A, Ben is my choice. Think he looked better the first time he played. Had a little more meat on his bones. I want Tony to go. He just makes Mr. Tired because he never shuts up.
Okay, that's one of them.
Yes. B, wait, have they done that challenge before? C, Tribal has turned into quite the fiasco. I like fiascos. Tony is running the game right now, and I like that too.
Okay.
D, one challenge per show leaves too much time for talk. It is getting really dull.
I would say D.
That is incorrect. I wrote, wait, have they done that challenge before?
Okay, that was my gut instinct because
I could very much see somebody saying that though.
Yeah.
that's why, yeah.
Yeah, I loved the first comment that said Ben had a little more meat on his bones the first time.
It's like, what?
Is Ben like really your type? Like you're really into this like a tattoo, just scruffy cowboy look. Anyways, okay. So last one, Cassie. So they posted a 5-minute clip of towards the end of Tribal Council. And then they captioned it, after giving up the chance to win immunity for peanut butter and cookies, Kim tried to save her game during a chaotic Tribal Council. I'm like, stop throwing shade, Survivor at CBS. Okay, so which of these is not a real comment? A, hooray, we get Tony and Ben the whole game. Joy, joy, I'm so excited. Hashtag sarcasm, can't stand either one of them. B, I would like to shove my hand in Denise's face for a change. And she's a therapist, 3 question marks, 3 exclamation points.
Whoa, okay.
C, it's always nice when a floater gets blindsided after they finally wake up and decide to play the game. D, she found out the hard way. Her fake-looking innocent expression doesn't work on Survivor pros.
Oh, man. I couldn't see you writing D, that's for sure. I'm going to go with C.
The correct answer was B. I wrote the shoving my hand in Denise's face.
Oh.
Oh, wait, I accidentally... Hold on, I made 4. So we'll do one more just for fun. Let's see if anybody gets the answer right. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have heard, but they're asking people to send in like short videos because they're making like a special Survivor tribute thing.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And so they kind of just like posted a picture of like the DeCall tribe on day 1, like when they're cheering when they find out they're going to win $2 million. So that's the picture that goes with the tribute video thing. Okay, so A, I've watched every show since it came on in 1998. Can't wait to see who wins season 40. B, has everyone forgotten that many times Jeff has talked about the tokens and someone's maybe getting a chance to come back in the game? ? If that does happen, the whole game will change.
That's like, yeah, no shit.
C, why is Sandra in this picture? She quit.
Period.
D, Rupert should have been on this season. He's one of the greats.
A.
I'm going to say you wrote D.
I was also going to say D.
Yeah, I wrote D. I wrote the one about Rupert.
Okay.
He did win $1 million from Survivor.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
They
Since
honestly
it came
could
on
have
in
done that
1998, the year that Survivor came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but what killed me the most is, has everyone forgotten that many times Jeff has talked about the tokens and someone's getting back in the game? Like, yeah, that's the whole point of this. That's like the theme of the season.
Yeah, that's literally brought up, and that person is the reason why they keep making Edge longer. Like, it's like, just stop commenting. You're ruining the show for us.
Yeah, so that was my game. Good job, guys.
So fun.
That was a fun game.
Yeah.
I'll clap to that.
Those
as well.
Facebook comments cracks me up.
That was a really funny one.
That was too much. The Denise as a therapist one was like a jugular.
I know. I
know, that's why.
As a huge Denise fan, I immediately was like, oh God. It's terrible.
The comments about Kim being a floater, I'm like, get out of here.
I can't believe that's real.
Casuals don't know that Kim Spradlin is like one of the best players of all time. Like, that's very much like a super fan take. So, yeah, it is crazy.
We should get a casual on too.
Yeah, like we do for BB.
Yeah, true. Check out the BB podcast.
Yeah, joining us next week, my mom on the podcast.
I love that.
No.
First, my mom.
We could just have the moms podcast together and we could watch. We could have the moms podcast together and then we'll do a podcast about the moms podcasting and like all the terrible takes.
Whenever I watch Survivor, like when I'm visiting my parents, my mom's like, I don't know how you can stand this. It's just people arguing the whole time. Like, Mom, that's the point.
You're like, and I also play orgs too, so trust me, it's like.
Well, my sister keeps giving me shit because I didn't win either org, and she's like, apparently your strategy isn't that good if you can't even win one of these things.
Period.
And I was like, excuse you, I'm the last jury member because I was such a threat, so get off my ass. And I'm idled out. I haven't actually been voted out, like, other than being the final jury member with the majority of votes. So,
gosh, you're like the Suri of your orgs.
Yes, you are.
I was compared to Parvati in my org, and I was like,
damn, how that's
yeah,
dope.
I would love to be like Parvati. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, there's like that running joke though that like someone gets compared to Parvati every single season. So like
Yeah.
if you enter an org, like even in orgs, people get compared to Parvati.
Anywho, this was
So
fun.
my roommate's boyfriend, who's not paying rent, he just moved in because quarantine. I'm not actually bitter about it, but he'll occasionally make fun of me for watching Survivor. But then the other day I walk out and he's watching this show where apparently the whole point of the show is to take people who have really high sex drives and take away their prize money if they're not hooking up.
Hot to handle. Yes.
I have no idea what it's called. I know you just said the title, but I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Too Hot to Handle. It's a new Netflix hit series.
Hit series.
So he makes fun of me for watching and being interested in Survivor, and then there he is watching that in the living room.
That's totally hypocritical.
It was a very intriguing show, though. They basically, if they hook up at all, like if they have like if they kiss or anything else, they get money docked from their final prize, and it's really funny. Like people have sex at one point, and it docks them $20,000.
Damn.
Which is funny because what I heard, and I don't even know if this is true, the total prize pool was $100,000 that they all split.
Well,
so
it wasn't
that's
known
not
if
even
they'd all split or anything. Like they weren't sure if like one person wins all of the money. But yeah, at the end they all split the prize money, and it totals to like $6,000 a person.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
at that point,
God.
just like have all the sex you want with these hot people. Like if that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
like
Right.
you're only getting like a few grand out of it when that's probably about as much as your stipend, like your pay for being there anyway.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's like,
So-
are you
Well,
the
no,
one
there's like
too?
an Alexa shaped like there's like a cone of like an Amazon Alexa called Lana that they like all talk to. Like this one guy kisses Lana every day, and it's like, "Hello, Lana." And goes and
Does their pay
kisses
get
Lana.
docked for that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much
No,
is that?
their pay does not get docked
You can
for
kiss
for
Lana?
But
That
he,
seems
tried
like,
to flirt with Lana, and Lana's like, I don't know, I'm not programmed to do that. Anyway, this is a huge sidebar, but
Yeah, we should probably stop recording, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah, we are off of Survivor. Next week predictions, real predictions, not my silly ones about Tony going out and back in.
Oh.
Oh man, I didn't even think about this.
I think Ben.
Just Ben.
Yeah, there's two
Okay.
votes.
Right.
I'm gonna
No,
say
no,
Denise.
I don't know. Yeah, that could be a prediction too.
I'm gonna say Ben and then Tony.
I'm gonna say Denise and Sarah.
I was gonna say Sarah then Denise.
I think Ben's second.
Okay.
Ben or Tony second.
Yeah.
I think I really am feeling Jeremy losing this coin flip. So Jeremy or Michelle, whoever has the coin loses the coin flip
Okay.
on the first one.
Yeah. It's a good call.
We will see. Yeah, well, join us next week for the podcast. And in the meantime, you can check out our Big Brother content previously on Big Brother 2. So, yeah, check that out.
Bye, guys.
Bye guys.
guys.